President Trump's endorsement of Attorney General Ken Paxton is not a surprise, but the timing sure is. It comes at the last minute on the second day of early voting and months after the president said he would endorse. Now, many Republicans thought that the president would actually wait until after to endorse after the runoff. In a statement on his Truth Social platform, President Trump said, quote, "I know Ken well. I have seen him tested at the highest and most difficult levels, and he is a winner. Ken is a strong supporter of terminating the filibuster and, very importantly, the Save America Act. Ken is a true MAGA warrior who has always delivered for Texas and will continue to do so in the United States Senate." As you might expect, pure excitement by Paxton and his supporters in Allen today. The Paxton campaign played one of the president's favorite songs, YMCA. After Trump made the announcement, his supporters said they were very happy that the news came down just before Paxton's event in Allen. The city is one of various that he represented while in the State House and later the State Senate before he was elected Attorney General. At his event, Paxton thanked the president for formally backing him.
And I'll tell you what, I'm so honored to have President Trump's endorsement. His endorsement, in my opinion, is the most significant endorsement in my lifetime. So when he endorses, it has a tremendous impact, and I think it creates a slight bit of momentum, don't you?
In a statement after the president made his endorsement, Senator John Cornyn said, quote, "It is now time for Texas Republican voters to decide if they want a strong nominee to help our GOP candidates down ballot and defeat Tallarico in November, or a weak nominee who jeopardizes everything that we care about." Now, as part of his closing argument, Cornyn has said he has voted with the president 99% of the time. He has also, though, said that Paxton is a flawed candidate and would be a flawed nominee who will put the Republican Senate seat in jeopardy against Democrat James Tallarico. Ken?
Jack, just wondering here and thinking out loud, what factors do you think went into the president's decision to back Ken Paxton? Because I think a lot of people were waiting for this announcement to see which way he was going to go, quite frankly.
Oh, absolutely. I think three things may have played a role here. First, I think this came down to loyalty. And the president said, while Senator Cornyn is a good man, he said he was not supportive when times were tough. He called Paxton a fighter. Second, I think the president has seen the GOP primary polls, and Paxton is leading those. And even in these very early polls for the general election in November, Paxton and Cornyn are about even in matchups against Democrat James Tallarico. And third, in comments aboard Air Force One last Friday, the president criticized Tallarico. He called him weird. And to me, it seems as if he believes Paxton can win this race, can beat Tallarico. Today, Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said that he believes Trump's endorsement puts them, the Democrats, in much better shape winning Texas than a few days ago, and he predicted Tallarico will win. Obviously, Republicans don't see that happening at all. Ken, Karen?
A lot of people interested in this. Jack, thank you so much.